Okay, so who am I talking to today?
So my name is Prateek Vats.
Okay, well, hello, nice to meet you. I'm Michael O'Keefe.
Hi, Mike.
So please describe to my audience your movie. What's it called?
It's called EEB ALLAY OO.
Okay. It's a very fun title. So tell my audience a bit about the story.
So the story is about Anjani, who's a young migrant who comes to Delhi to find some job, but he can't find anything, so finally gets employed as a person who is employed to scare away monkeys from government complexes by imitating aggressive langurs, which are the bigger apes. So, yeah.
It's a very funny movie.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. The whole film is about satire and absurdity, and the humor is throughout humor in the film to tell the story. Because with the monkeys and all, you set up a...
I guess like monkeys are inherently funny.
Exactly, and monkeys are universally not just funny. They're a mixture of being funny, of being a nuisance value, and being very unpredictable.
Okay, so how does it feel having made your first film?
It's great. It's great because it's we've been meeting filmmakers here who are here with their first films, and it's like very similar stories of struggles for everyone.
Yeah.
Just to put up a project together, raise the money, how to finance it, and then finally shoot it, get the actors, make the film, finally get to festivals. So it's a long journey.
How long did it take?
A little about about 20 months to complete this.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a big commitment.
Yeah, it is.
All right. So, who are comedy directors that you really admire, that really inspired your style?
She's writing right from the beginning, Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin, of course.
Cool. Yeah.
Of course. Then there was Jacques Tati. I found we saw him for the first time in the film school when we were studying.
Yeah.
So that was a great, just to see that kind of humor which was so restrained and yet so outwardly funny. It was a lovely
different, maybe a bit more advanced.
Yeah.
It's very sophisticated humor. All right, so that's really interesting. And would you ever make a Bollywood movie?
Why not? In the sense, like, as long as you get to make the kind of film you are making, it doesn't really matter. Bollywood, Hollywood, independent setup. As long as there's that story to tell and you're being allowed to tell it the way you want to.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Would you make a movie like Sholay or Parinda?
I think films like Sholay, nobody decides to set off make those films, you know. So they just happen. In terms of genre, you'll say, okay, Indian Western or that kind of convict. Yeah, why not? These are basic genre films.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, a Parinda or a Sholay, they become big because, a lot of factors work towards making it happen. And over the years, they get some classic status. So I can't say I aspire to those.
You're right.
One always hopes that a film goes beyond just being a little film that you're making. It stands the test of time. That's the basic test.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Genre is kind of like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. All right. So tell me about like the maybe like the Indian angle or interpretive nature of monkeys. Well, because I know like different animals take on different meanings in India. So tell me about the Indian interpretation of monkeys.
So in terms of mythology, monkey god is one of the most important and popular gods in Hindu mythology. Yeah, Hanuman, and he's supposed to be the closest aid of Lord Ram, which is again one of the most important characters in Ramayana. It's his story. So, but beyond that, the problematic aspect is that this is also an image of a very hardline, right-wing kind of militant religious organization. So it's always had those kind of duality. It's a revered animal, but also monkeys are they're troublemakers, right? So people hate them, but they are revered also. So monkeys have got this this rounded kind of dual existence. You want to keep them away, but you don't want to hurt them.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And all right, so are you enjoying the Berlinale? Do you like Germany?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's my first time in Berlin, and the city.
Same here.
Yeah, the city is really nice, and I feel the energy and all. And it's good to see. Like we had a screening today at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Monday morning, it was like sold out, and
That's amazing.
yeah, there's
Aw.
just such a warm feeling to see that city people are watching films. You know, it's not a festival for just the industry or critiques
Yeah.
or journalists. Or it's normal people coming out to watch films every day. So it's like really exciting. You're meeting people, hanging out, just casual conversations, getting to watch films. So it's really nice, having fun.
Oh, I'm glad that people are responding to it. That's fantastic. So tell me about the actors you cast, and how do you talk to actors?
So most of the actors in this film, I've known them for a long time.
Oh, cool.
Most of them studied. We studied together at the film school. At some point or the other, maybe some of us were classmates. Some batches junior to us, some batches senior to us. So that ways there was a lot of familiarity with this particular cast that we
That's
had.
an advantage.
Yeah, that's a big advantage. So second part of the question, like when you speak to friends, it's like speaking to friends, right? There's so much you don't have to explain because you already know each other, and you know what I mean when I say A or B or C.
Right. That
but
would be helpful, but maybe is there a downside ever?
downside, I don't see a downside. Sometimes it's
Maybe
any kind of.
uncomfortable?
More than uncomfortable, I think being too familiar sometimes becomes a problem because then you can't look at it objectively, which is you're always trying to manage this balance because in this film we also have non-professional actors. So working with them was very different. The whole process was very different.
Yeah.
You know, we used to sit and talk to them for a long, long time, you know, not get into technicalities at all.
Yeah.
With the trained actors, we can get into technicalities and they don't get tired. With non-professional, they get bored. They get tired, you know. So it has to be worked out differently, but at the same time, you need to get what you want to get, you know.
Yeah. Well, maybe for your next movie, you know, different experience. Who knows,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So that's the fun of making films. Every film comes up with its own process, and the whole experience is so different.
So, I guess my question is twofold. How did you get into filmmaking, and how, like, if you're just in India, you know, Bollywood, and you know, it's one of the great like national cinemas, right? How does one get involved? You go to school, you go on set. Is it like break it down for me?
So I did my graduation from Delhi University. I grew up in Delhi.
Yeah.
And then a lot of friends at that time were doing theatre, and we were very actively doing theatre in college. And some friends had just started exploring film, and you know, some documentary films were happening.
Sure.
Delhi has a lot of documentary filmmakers. So then I sort of I have a sister who had studied films at some point, like in 1997. She'd studied editing at the film school. So I really wanted to go there, just to study, just to figure out what it is. I studied commerce and I wasn't enjoying it at all in my graduation, undergrad.
Okay.
Accounting and stuff like that. So I tried. It's a tough exam in India to get through the film school. Yeah, it's a very prestigious film school, one of the best in Asia. So I remember not getting through, and then I was on set for a year. I came to Bombay, worked as a assistant director, runner, production assistant, these kind of odd jobs. You do whatever just to be around the set. And then I tried again, and that time I got through, and I studied the direction course there. Then finally, so I feel that it helped me a lot, just to familiarize myself with the new medium, because everything was so new. Because completely new medium, you're not sure how it functions.
Sure.
How do you take a shot? How do you put it together? No idea.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, like I realize in India especially, because the industry is so thriving, that people really don't have to go to a film school to make a film.
It's all about getting on set.
Yeah. So, but for me, because I was working on set for a year, I realized I needed to study so that I can come, because I always wanted to direct. I didn't want to. I just wanted to spend time on directing, and the way I thought this assisting and this it'll take too much time.
Yeah.
So I
just
thought,
do your own thing.
Yeah, it's tough, and a film school afforded me that time.
Oh, okay.
That's what. So it worked for me.
But you're still a young man, right? How old are you?
I'm 35 now.
Okay, well, you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's a good age to have your first movie. Fantastic. All right, so we were mentioning, Vats and Bala.
Yes.
And who are some of your favorite contemporary Indian filmmakers, and also who are some of the best, the classics for other people to check out?
So contemporaries, I would say there's this filmmaker called Chaitanya Tamani who's coming up with his second film now. He made a first feature film called Court, which was brilliant. It was India's entry into the Oscars.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was really cool. And he just a very young guy, I think 28, 30 now. Really a short film, so that was really nice to watch. Then there's a filmmaker here, Pushpender, whose film is playing at the new competition section. So he's a classmate, so he's been making films which are very interesting and very, very different from your narrative filmmaking. Then there are vernacular filmmakers in Kerala. There's a filmmaker called Kamal KM. So he's also, I'm very excited, his new film is coming out. So these are the kind of, in India the thing is that there are so many languages, people are making films, so many films.
Yeah.
But obviously we tend to know Bollywood is bigger and the industry is so much more bigger. So in terms of the industry, the new ones like Anurag Kashyap has been around for a while, he's been doing one. This Vasan Bala and all these people now, they are the new...
Vasan's fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like him a lot.
Like, I don't know him personally, but I really like...
the work.
Yeah, and just general vibe you met once or twice in some public spaces, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And in terms of the classics, obviously, Satyajit Ray, Ritik Ghatak, these guys, Said Mirza, these are contemporary. Till about 70s, 80s, we had some really bigwigs making lots of films, and there was state support, and it was a whole ecosystem around which a lot of good films were being made, be it in the studio system of the Hollywood, or be it the state funding, which was able to produce this kind of parallel content driven out of the non-star faces, those kind of very, very engaging with the contemporary realities of the country. So that is sadly sort of gone down a little bit,
right? Because
of I think the whole state funding, the support is no longer there.
So, Parasite. How has Parasite changed international filmmaking? Does it come out? Does it come up as a topic a lot?
Of course, it is the topic to talk about, because most of the time, like I said, about different languages, there was this so much pressure to make a language which is accessible. So in a country like India, there'll be a pressure to say, okay, pan-India, go for Hindi because it'll work. But this whole idea of pan-India doesn't really exist. That's the whole idea. The whole idea of having so many languages is a strength. It's not a weakness.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people say the more specific it is, the stronger it is.
Yeah. And they say, the most local is the most global.
Yeah.
It has to be, universality comes from there. So Parasite has clearly broken that barrier, of a so-called foreign film, of what he himself said, of a 1-inch barrier of the subtitle.
Yeah, it's a great line.
Yeah, because there's suddenly this thing, this is a foreign film.
Yeah. Like you and I know, because I'm doing festivals, I'm watching all kinds of movies all the time.
Yeah.
And, I don't care if I have to read during the movie.
Of course.
But hopefully that more people will appreciate world cinema.
Yeah.
Because you're limiting yourself so much. If it's just going to be Marvel movies, not to take away from them, but if it's just going to be that all the time, it's going to get kind of vanilla, a little boring quick.
Absolutely. How many of these spectacle films can you watch?
Exactly.
How many? And anyways, their calendar is fixed. Every summer blockbuster, something's gonna come, but not everything can be that, right? With Parasite or something like that, even I think now studios or producers will sort of get some confidence. Okay, this is viable. This is not just viable, this is massively profitable to do. Till now there was this whole idea, the film is good, but economics. So these kind of things are good in that aspect a lot.
Yeah, good. Shout out to Neon for believing in it and really doing that big push. That's fantastic. All right, so I think we kind of wrapped it all up. So thank you very much for your time. I wish you lots of luck in your future. You're a very nice man, very charming man. Before I let you go, what do you have coming up for the rest of the year?
So once we just mid-March we have another festival run, and then
can you say which one?
Yeah, it's been announced, the Red Sea International Film Festival at Jeddah in March, and then the Prague International Film Festival in third week March. Then a few festivals in the US.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
Can
yeah.
you say the US ones, or is that too early?
No. I think they've announced it officially. So there's one in Austin. There's that Indian festival in Los Angeles, and the Indian festival in New York. I think New York Indian.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, we are hoping to have like over the next 3-4 months many more screenings.
Well, lots of luck to you in the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.